Hey guys, and welcome back to the Heroes Hype Amateur Series. I am cracking up because of the Pikachu song. That song. But meanwhile, I am joined by a new co-host, and actually I can turn off the inimical title. This is Anna. Hey Anna. You are muted.
Yep, sure was.
Love you.
Yep, but I'm here now. And you might not be able to tell, but I'm not inimical. I know it's hard to tell us apart sometimes.
It's true.
But I'm Anna Prosser, and I'm thrilled to be here. Gillyweed, how's it gone so far?
It's been pretty good. We've had, I think, two pretty quick games. Yeah, we've had two pretty quick games. First, we watched... Who was the first one? It was Tranquility and Fraud Esports, and Fraud won that. It was a pretty good game. And then we also watched Lazura Gaming. They were back with the name that is difficult to pronounce, and Kaseki no Sidai.
Do we know what that means yet? I've heard this name all day, but I have no idea what it means.
Nope. And maybe somebody in chat can tell us. But of course, they're the new team. They did some cool stuff. We had a double tank comp that won, and then Kaseki did a comp that had just a sole Tassadar support, so really trying to do a lot of damage, but wasn't quite enough. So with that,
I saw that game actually. I was just tuning in at the very end. Yeah, and I was thinking when I saw the dual tank that we'd never seen a dual tank win, and I was like, oh, that's the kiss of death. Double tanks never work, but apparently it did. But I think you were right about the lack of support being a huge issue.
Yeah. I think it definitely played into it. And we do have the draft ready, guys. We're going to be going into our first semifinals. It's going to be Throwcademy versus Kappa Wolves. And then as well, the other semifinal that will be going on is Lazura Gaming, our winner from last game, versus Wild Growth. So those are the 4 teams that are left. And of course, we have a losers bracket going on as well. It's optional, but it's just a great way for our teams to continue to practice their skills in the tournament setting. And so we're going to go ahead and head into this draft, and I will send you the link in just a second.
Awesome.
And we're going to be on Sky Temple.
Fun.
My favorite used to be Dragonshire, but Sky Temple.
It's your favorite map now? Wow. What do you like so much about it?
Something about this map and I just click. we just understand each other, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think it just is really easy for me to understand the rotations with the temples. The boss is kind of easy to get. Well, I mean, it's easy to understand in that it's not easy to get. So don't ever take it unless you're absolutely certain.
Right, that makes sense.
Right, and so I think that's just what it amounts to as well. I do think it's cool that Kappa Wolves are going with a Zagara ban here.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot more Zagara bans lately. Both Inimical and I were talking about this, but we've been seeing it a bit more in the Storm League. Just Zagara play a lot more, and bans as well. And then here we're starting to see more bans.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I feel like people are really starting to take advantage of some of her unique things as a specialist, because being a specialist sometimes can be like, oh, they're just kind of an assassin, or they're just kind of a this or that, but Zagara really is a class all of her own in terms of like how much vision she has and how she can change her movement abilities and things like that with creep. But now seeing a ban on Uther coming out for Throwcademy, why do you think they chose to ban Uther right off the bat?
I think that they have an idea in mind and are maybe going to be tricksy here.
Ooh, do you have an idea of what that tricksiness is going to be?
Well, I'm not certain, but I do know they like to go for some tricksy things sometimes, and I mean I do know that they've got a good Vikings player, so we'll have to see about that. There's quite a few good Vikings players here in the HeroesHype Amateur Series as well, which is really fun. It's really fun to see. We saw them earlier just really dominate on the Tomb of the Spider Queen. But on this map, Kappa Wolves first picking Jaina, so common now. We're seeing a ton of first pick Jainas. She has so much potential in terms of damage. And Throwcademy so far responding with picking up Rhaegar. So they've not only banned Uther, but they've picked up Rhaegar. So really controlling the supports here.
Yeah, that's really interesting. If they've got an Uther ban and they've got something tricksy up their sleeve, obviously they also don't want to give Kappa Wolves their pick of supports. What do you think they're controlling for that Uther might be a counter to?
Hmm.
I
Anything
mean,
that
his
a stun,
stuns.
yes, I would say a stun, or maybe they're trying to make sure that there's no potential for a divine shield. So, right, like divine shield's kind of like
Uh,
the new
mm-hmm.
ancestral in a way. It doesn't give you another health bar, but it lets you literally stay in the fight for another couple of seconds and then get away too. So,
Mm-hmm.
Throwcademy picking up Sylvanas as their next pick, and two very quick picks for Kappa Wolves. So they were really hopeful, I think, that neither Diablo nor Toronto would get picked up. And there's a great synergy in those three heroes. Of course, Diablo being able to overpower a hero directly into a stun from Tyrande, and then Jaina being able to burst them down with all of her abilities is just a classic combo that we're seeing a ton of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those stuns are proving to be so important, and I've seen so many cool Diablo plays where, I mean, his set of abilities is so good for allowing damage dealers to do their job. Being able
Mm-hmm.
to dash up to somebody, overpower them, throw them over your shoulder, do a little bit of damage with the flame stomp, and then your damage dealers just have plenty of time in that whole series of events to burst them down with you. So really definitely someone you want to have standing next to a damage dealer like Jaina. But who do we think they're going to pair up with Sylvanas to give her the opportunity to do her damage? We see a Tassadar.
Yeah, so really getting their support system set up. And also just vision is so helpful on this map too. The area around that bottom temple and the boss has a lot of bushes where the gank potential is really huge. And so I see where they would want to have the vision there to make sure, first of all, because Tyrande also gets vision with her owl, but just as well to make sure that a gank won't be coming out from the Diablo Tyrande Jaina Reign of Death. But man, they've been really dipping into their yeah, there it is. They're really dipping into their time pool. That's such a good feeling. It's like the best feeling.
I knew it. I am omniscient caster. Yes.
Can't get over it. So they are going to pick up the Lost Vikings, and I'm really excited now. Of course, this map has temples that you have to go to. They spawn at fixed intervals, and you have to stand on them in order for them to attack your opponent's structures. Lost Vikings are so key here. You can keep them in lane, split them up in lane to be able to soak XP from the lanes, and they're going to be looking to get ahead in experience as well as have a very strong push between the Sylvanas and Lost Vikings. They are all about pushing this game. Kappa Wolves has picked up my little favorite fairy dragon.
Yeah, going with the Brightwing. So going to pair with Tyrande as the half support, as we call her, someone who can do some damage, do some control, but also it has a little bit of healing or support. And then Brightwing really focusing probably on healing. Or actually, I mean, Emerald Wind is great on this map as well. If you were playing Brightwing here, what are you going to be using her for?
Well, I could see either because they do have sort of the backup with Tyrande. If she were solely by herself, I would definitely say the Blink Heal. I would say probably still the Blink Heal. It's a little more viable in terms of being able to make sure that you're in the right position with Brightwing. She doesn't have a way to mount up, so she can get kind of caught behind when a team is retreating, and that the blink heal just helps her kind of stay caught up with her team and not really getting caught up as much. And then polymorph would be really beneficial here as well, but they could be doing Emerald Wind just to try to keep the pushing off of their structures. And Emerald Wind is great. Anything that kind of forces people off of spaces where you have to fight, like the temples. So they could be using Emerald Wind for that, just to kind of force people off. We'll have to see. I think typically we see about 50-50 as well for that.
They are taking quite a bit of time to think about their last pick. Do you think they're looking for something to kind of counter the last pick with the Vikings?
I think they're really trying to think about what's going to help them succeed in countering the really scary push that will be coming out from Vikings and Sylvanas, and they have chosen to go with Illidan. So we do see Tyrande, Brightwing, and Illidan quite a bit together. More often we'll see Rhaegar and Illidan together, but actually I've been casting the Storm League recently, and they're all about Brightwing, Illidan together.
I like that Illidan pick because I feel like he can just chase people down so well and so annoyingly. And when you're dealing with this comp that we're looking at from Throwcademy, I feel like being able to chase people down quickly and decisively is going to be important if they're going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think that he will be really nice in chasing down, like you said, especially with the Sylvanas too. And whew, they're really throwing us for a loop here, choosing to pick a Nubarak as their last tank. So I really thought they would go for the ETC. Of course, a global map presence with the stage dive is so nice on this giant map. That's something that Kappa Wolves will get out of Brightwing. But instead going with the Nubarak here, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with this. I feel like a Nubarak was a pocket pick. They got to have the last pick, and they really got to choose. They left it till the end. They knew nobody was going to pick him up. But
Right.
something to consider is that he can be squishier than the typical tanks like ETC and Diablo. So we'll have to see how they do at keeping people alive. Although if they're going to do so, Rhaegar is a great support for that.
It's so interesting, and I'm actually just reviewing the talents that we have for Nubarak because he's someone that I don't see a ton, so I want to make sure I'm familiar. What do you think they're looking to do here? Do you think this is adding to what you said is going to be a huge push comp in terms of like having the Scarab host going on? I mean, what do you think they're looking to do?
I am so thrown by Nubarak. He does have good stuns and really good engage. Already I'm seeing Kazis, one of the members from Throwcademy, say, "Oh my lord, this is gonna be fun" in chat. So I'm really excited about that. They seem to be pumped about the game. I'm pumped about this game. I'm loving these picks. I love seeing the more very standard pick from Kappa Wolves go up sort of against the very crazy pick from Throwcademy. And that'll be fun. I would say that Nubarak has some great engagement. Maybe that's what they're going for potential. It could also be his stunts. He's got some of those as well. We'll have to see. You could even be right with the Scarab host. Maybe Throwcademy. I'm guessing that they know something about him that we don't know.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there with the stuns because they don't have anything else that has that level of control, really. So I don't know. I'm going to be really interested to see how they use this. Like I said, this is something, a Nubarak play isn't something I'm super familiar with. So as an amateur caster here in the amateur series, I'm excited to learn from this.
You know, we have seen a lot more when we do see the very few times a Nubarak. A lot more of the Web Blast, which I think would be a great way to deal with the Illidan. So Illidan like metamorphosizes in, he's really scary, bam, you're webbed. Now they can deal with the rest of the team. Illidan is far out of position, obviously, if they can catch him before he's able to move back away from the metamorphosis, because you have to jump in on top of the enemy team to do so. And so they can't really get to the web to try to deal with it, and that could be what they're going to go for here. So we'll have to see what they make of it, but let's go ahead and introduce these teams. In the blue, we've got Throwcademy with Fate on Rhaegar, Fate on a new...
We are seeing two fates.
On a Nubarak, Sefthuko on the Lost Vikings, Kazis Requiem on Tassadar, he loves the Tassadar, and Luda on Sylvanas.
Fate and Fate playing together.
Great.
But in red, we have the Kappa Wolves. Som is going to be taking Illidan, aka Face will be playing Brightwing. Fam on Jaina. Hawkfu will be playing Diablo. And Big Impact?
Yes.
I think Big Impact.
On
Big
Tyrande.
Impact will be playing Tyrande.
And Psalm on Illidan, did he get mentioned? I think I got confused with that. Anyway, so look at Sefthuko and Luda already pushing on bot, but they are going to lose at least one Viking for that push, being really, really aggressive at the beginning. Already took a tower down to half health.
Wow. I mean, that's definitely a huge advantage. Those temples just do more and more damage to buildings, so the more damage you can do early on to the buildings, the farther your temple shots are going to get in this. So really surprising to see that much aggression, but very cool.
Yeah, it seems like they might be going for rotations where they just try to... Oh my goodness, Luda getting kind of low there, but able to Banshee away. Maybe a rotation where all they do is just try to push and take down turrets as fast as possible. This is a map where your structures are sort of your health, so It
Yeah.
could work.
Now we're going to see with these two temples spawning whether the Vikings are going to be used to separate, whether this team is really built around making sure they have temple domination, or whether it might be pushing in lanes. Looks like right now they're going to be trying to take on Psalm on Illidan here on the watchtower, but nothing quite going to happen. Hakfu, Fam, and Big Impact making sure they take that vision, and it looks like the red team here is going to be looking to take the center tower, while we see Throwcademy in blue up here taking the top, which is pretty common that we see teams split these two first temples, right, Gilly?
Oh yeah, for sure. We do see Seftuko is going to separate the Vikings just a little bit. Meanwhile, Luda and Fate are already pushing here on top. They're going to try to take out some of these turrets and save some of the ammo that would otherwise be used on it, and they will take down those turrets. And meanwhile, Seftuko is just going to continue to soak.
Yeah, it doesn't look so far like they're too concerned with getting ganks and kills. Right now, they are going to take down Hakfu, unless Hakfu gets healed by Brightwing just enough, and doesn't quite make it out. So it looks like they're more interested in taking objectives and pushing lanes than they are in getting kills. Fate maybe taking too long, but using that burrow from Manubarak to get out. And yeah, again, they're going to disengage. So I think you're right, and you're on to something, Gilly, that we're seeing a comp that's built simply to push and take objectives most effectively.
Yeah, and so far doing really well, although I do have to say Kappa Wolf's doing a great job of staying with the experience. Something that can be really scary is getting behind inexperience because of those Vikings, and they're doing a really good job of being aggressive versus the Vikings, forcing them out of lane so that they don't get too behind with the experience gain.
It does feel like Kappa Wolves, despite having two less units on the board, if you will, does feel like they're everywhere. They don't feel like they have gaps anywhere that are being able to be exploited by Throwcademy, and I think that's speaking to their skill for sure.
Yes, definitely. And in fact, Throwcademy not really being able to soak on the bottom as well. They were trying to take their bruisers, but what they're doing is they're waiting. The reason why they're choosing to wait like this to cap them is because the next temple that's going to spawn will be bottom. Kaz is getting caught out here. Will he be able to dimensional shift away? He will not. He's going to be taken down, and that will be a kill on the side of Kappa Wolves. Now, what I was saying before and why you're seeing Hakfu go after these bruisers is because the next temple that spawns will be the bot temple here, and so having those bruisers push up at top just keeps a push going and makes your enemy team have to choose between defending or going to the temple. Right now they're choosing to get these bruisers, and those will help counter push though, and that will be that.
Yeah, it's one thing that you maybe learn early on in this game that doesn't seem obvious to people when they first start playing is that you can use your mercenaries both defensively and offensively. So here Kappa Wolves making sure to use theirs defensively to stave off this push, and once they've done that, they may push for them as well.
Hakfu throwing Fate back, but he's going to be able to burrow charge right away again. Just really a cool kind of way of dealing with the overpowers from Diablo that otherwise might be very scary.
Yeah, again, both teams definitely taking their time and getting the right positioning as this bottom temple begins to spawn, because this is a scary one. You've got to be really sure that your team can take on your opponents if you're going to take this temple. Right now, Hakfu going and standing on it while the rest of his team kind of zones. AKA Face and Big Impact looking to take out Seftuko's Vikings and keeping Fate at bay. Looks like Hakfu at this point is going to be uncontested taking this bottom temple.
Yeah, I think that Throwcademy has simply decided they know that they're really not the team fight comp, so they're instead just going to be going for pushing. They've taken down the top fort, so they're staying even in structures, and we'll have to see Fam and Som both here maybe going to try to gank, but no, Throwcademy is going to be able to get back. They want to catch Big Impact actually on this Tyrande, and Fate slowed her on the Rhaegar. Other Fate is coming in. They're going to try to catch her. She's still running away. She's getting rather low. She does drop a stun on Fate, and now she has gotten to the safety of Diablo.
It looks like Seftuko might be in trouble here with Diablo throwing him around, but no, is able to disengage, and it looks like that's going to be the order of the day. Disengaging when the odds are not in their favor and looking to push where opportunities are given. Hakfu pulling Fate, but not quite being able to do much. Brightwing, the only damage dealer behind him, not being able to do much burst. And it looks like we'll see a push down here in the bottom from Throwcademy.
Yeah, speaking of the advantages, they happen to just catch a Jaina out of position and will catch Brightwing out of position too. So that's another couple of kills that have helped Throwcademy secure their level 10 abilities. Can they even catch Hawkfu? They're really trying to go after him. Sylvanas stopping that fort, and oh no, Fate might be a little bit out of position here as he takes a ton of damage from Jaina, but will disengage here. They wanted this fort. They're going to have to get out, though. Starfall is here and dealing a lot of damage, and there goes Luda just with the clutch Banshees.
Ooh. And the heal from Rhaegar as well, helping her get out alive. Oh, but not quite. Sylvanas hits her with an arrow, and she will go down.
Oh, Fate trying to get away, shielded, but going to go down as well, and that would be another kill for our Kappa Wolves, followed by Tassadar, and now they're going to be able to take this fort uncontested and going to move up in the experience gain.
You know what's interesting to note about the Throwcademy composition is that, including Anubarak, they've all got really good disengage mechanics. Tyrande can use her Banshees to teleport out. Rhaegar, of course, can mount instantly. Tassadar can phase shift. So, interesting to think about Anubarak as someone maybe that they are using to disengage. Now it looks like Kappa Wolves will be grabbing their siege camp. They are not going to stop punishing them for the fact that they overextended just a little bit, looking for a kill instead of stopping just with the push there in the bottom lane.
And as we go into our next temple phase, let's quickly go over the heroics both teams have taken. We've got the Web Blast, Wailing Arrow, Bloodlust, Archon, and Longboat Raid on the side of Throwcademy, and the Metamorphosis, Blink Heal, Water Elemental, Lightning Breath, and Starfall from Kappa Wolves.
Yeah, you called it on the Blink Heal. I think that's probably a good choice here.
Oh, Fate's gotta get out. He needs to burrow, but he's not going to be able to. They're trying to shield him and keep him alive, but he's not going to do so. He does drop a Web Blast on Diablo, and the rest of his team's trying to take out Fam and Som. Fam gets very low, but Tassadar is the one who was taken out. And now Luda and Seftugo have to get away. They're the only ones left. They're trying to maybe still follow Fam. There goes the longbow is going to follow, but you're all by yourself. Vikings, get out, little boat.
Take your boat and sail it across the sea far away from this carnage. Som is getting right on Seftuko. They do have an extra health bar, but will it be enough? Probably not, with Illidan being able to chase them out. But the jump gets 2 Vikings away, and they only lose 1 of their brethren.
I'm really interested why Rhaegar wasn't quite there for that engagement. He was trying to push up mid. I think they really just wanted to get level 13. They didn't have their 13 talents yet, and that's something that Kappa Wolves had, but unfortunately it meant that the Throwcademy was just outnumbered there in that fight.
Yeah, and Rhaegar being up here for the Kappa Wolves, or excuse me, for Throwcademy, trying to grab a temple, that's going to be important, and I think maybe they're kind of realizing, okay, we built our team to get objectives and push. We've got to stop trying to win team fights, especially when we're down a level. But now they do have level 13. Maybe they will be able to stop Som on Illidan, as Illidan does go into Metamorphosis, being followed by Big Impact. Tyrande maybe looking to get a stun on Kaz's Requiem, but he is able to get out, and AKA Face, Big Impact, and Som will retreat.
There was the Web Blast, like we talked about, on the Illidan, but they were just really using it as a retreat at that point. They weren't going to try to capitalize on it. They didn't know where the other team members, how close they might be. And so they're just going to try to keep pushing, trying to catch back up in experience, going to merc as much as they can, and prepare for the next temple phase.
Yeah, it looks like we have some interest on behalf of the Kappa Wolves saying, could we come take them while they're doing their bruiser camp? But no, they're going to instead take time to push on their own. Their team being built both for team fight and now able to push as well, but they are going to back out as they see all of the members of Throwcademy coming their way.
Fate wants to engage on this. He goes in. Brightwing is going to phase shift in though, and it is a 5 versus 5, and you see Throwcademy backing up. They would rather engage underneath that fort if they're going to. They're going to move and try to take vision here, maybe try to just get the better advantage in the impending possible team fight. There goes Seftuko. He is jumping in on Brightwing, as is Fate. The Anubarak, they're still trying to engage on this, but Kappa Wolves keep pulling them back.
Very interesting that they're pushing so hard here, maybe trying to get all the way to this wall or towers. Hawkfu and Big Impact being out in the mess. And I don't know, which way do you see this going, Gilly?
Well, for now, Illidan was way down murking, actually, and so it's just been a 5v4 here as he's all the way down here. And so Throwcademy's not going to let up on this as long as Illidan is pushing. They want to push. That's the idea of their comp. And you can see Sylvanas stopping this tower from attacking. They did pick up a tower and gate, but they are going to go ahead and disengage as Hakfu is now on the chase.
It looks like they may be running down to deal with what's going on here with Psalm, as Illidan taking down their bottom wall as well while they weren't looking. Very smart play on behalf of Kappa Wolves.
Yeah, they knew they could defend. They had the advantage, defender's advantage. That was, of course, the structures attacking. Even though the Sylvanas is on Throwcademy, they still had a bit of an advantage there. Now Psalm is coming in. He's going to try to take out some of these Vikings possibly, or just use them for his escape.
Yeah, very interesting to kind of think about the early game versus the late game with these two compositions. We have something a little bit more well-rounded from Kappa Wolves and something a little more specialized from Throwcademy. So they've really got to make sure that they use what strengths they've gotten from this draft.
Definitely. They are down a crucial level. Level 16, of course, is where huge talents come into play, and that's what Kappa Wolves has, so Throwcademy needs to be very careful. They do want to try to take this fort. They're not even going for that temple, so they know that somebody's down in this temple, right? It's still red, so this is their time, and they're going to try to make something happen. They're dealing a lot of damage to Big Impact. Can they take her out? They will, and Psalm is going to get away. Fate's very low, though, and Jaina will finish him off. So now it's 1-1 down, and Throwcademy has secured their level 16 talents, but they're having to get away. Oh, and here comes Hakfu. They're trying to catch Luda. Luda can't banshee away. She will banshee away, but Illidan is right on the chase, and that's going to be a free Sylvanas.
Yeah, that Illidan chase is so strong. Running away from an Illidan is hard to do, and it looks like they will take this opportunity to grab that boss, which, as you mentioned, can be so risky, but they're looking at their opponents and saying they don't dare challenge us and try to steal this. But I don't know, Kaz's Requiem may be thinking about it.
Look at the talents of Throwcademy. 3 Blood for Bloods, really trying to nuke down a target. That is just awesome, but unfortunately for them, they so far have not quite come out in the team fights. But maybe they'll be able to turn it around now with these level 16 talents.
Yeah, I wonder if that early game pushing was part of a strategy where they said we want to get that early game advantage so that as we progress into the late game we can keep pushing with that momentum, not have to worry too much about team fighting and leveling. But it turns out that's something they're having to do. They defend against boss now, but it looks like Kappa Wolves wants to push alongside their boss and engage on them, pulling Seth Thuko, who does jump to get out of the way, but Psalm is not going to let him get away that easily.
They are ready to try to defend this boss. He is on keep. He's halfway dead, and with the Starfall there, it's going to be very difficult for Throwcademy to try to engage in on this. Kappa Wolves are pushing their advantage. They've taken out the keep. They may try for a team fight here. Fate has dropped the web wrap. It looks like it was on Illidan once again. They're going to take out Hakfu. He was sitting there trying to lightning breath, and he lightning breathed to his death, but he will come back. Oh no, Rhaegar is going to go down though. They're still on the chase. They still want to pick up Big Impact, but Psalm back here is chasing after Ludo. They're having to deal with 2 different fighting locations. Oh, and there, this metamorphosis from Psalm will finish off the Sylvanas, and now Olaf is down, so is Balog. There is only 1 little Viking left and 1 Tassadar, but everybody is still up for Kappa Wolves.
Yeah, very interesting to note that every time Throwcademy has kind of overextended just a little bit or looked to engage and get a kill, it has not ended well for them. This comp really maybe wasn't built for that, and it looks like Kappa Wolves being able to respond every time to an engagement in a favorable way.
Yeah, the core is getting low. It's dropping so fast. This definitely will be game. And the first game of this best of 3 series is going to go to Kappa Wolves.
Very interesting picks. I was really excited to see those picks from Throwcademy being willing to kind of say, all right, we want to play with the mechanics of this map. We want to take a look at how heroes that aren't typically used might synergize. And I liked the idea. I think maybe the execution could have been done better, but even if so, who knows if it was going to work? Because what we saw from that team is that every time, like I said, that they really were like, okay, we've got to get a kill here, we've got to get a kill here, and pushed out into a lane or into a group of their opponents, it didn't end well for them. So really what that means is if this team comp was specialized for pushing, they've got to be very defensive, very sneaky, and use only the advantages that are given to them, which is never something that you really want to be in a position to do. You want to be creating your own opportunities and have the option to be either aggressive or defensive. So maybe that draft is going to be something they reevaluate. Who knows?
Yeah, I really want to commend Kappa Wolves as well, because they didn't panic when seeing this team comp. They knew what they had to do. They needed to stop the Lost Vikings from getting too much of an advantage when it came to experience in that early game, and they did. They bullied the Vikings out of the lanes, especially the lanes where only the Vikings were in them. That helped them keep up with experience, and then once they had any sort of an advantage, they really continued to push that advantage, and that's exactly what they needed to do to deal with the strong push comp. They did a great job.
Yeah, that was a great game. Really applaud teams looking for different kinds of synergies and, strategies that people aren't looking for. I think Kappa Wolves was taken a little bit aback and had to figure out how to deal with this composition at first. So if teams can manage to throw their opponents off a little bit and then execute new strategies really, really well, that's really fun for us to watch. So thanks for that, both Throwcademy and Kappa Wolves.
Yeah, for sure. Great games, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks so much for playing. But this series is not over. We have game 2 in this best of 3 coming right up. So just give us a short break for map bams and to get the lobby set up, and then we'll be right back.